There are situations where we want to enumerate the number of elements in a set where some of the elements satisfy one condition and some others satisfy another condition. For example, we will consider this situation. Suppose that A is the set of all students in a class who passed in the subject mathematics, and B the set of all students who passed in the subject statistics. Suppose that we want to make a count of the elements who have passed in mathematics or in statistics. Precisely, we have to find the number of elements in the set A union B. A small notation: if A is a set, then by the vertical line A, we mean the cardinality of A when A is a finite set. Cardinality in the sense that this is a number of elements in A. This notation, the notation is this: by vertical line A, we mean the number of elements in the finite set A, and we call it to be the cardinality of A. In the above example, we want to find the number of students who have passed in the subject mathematics or in the subject statistics. Therefore, essentially, we are asking for the number of elements in the set A union B. One thing is obvious: A union B consists of elements from A and elements from B. Therefore, number of elements in A union B cannot exceed the number of elements in A plus number of elements in B. But if we carefully look, for finding the number of elements in A union B, we cannot simply take the sum of number of elements in A and number of elements in B because of this reason. Suppose that we have this set as A, and suppose that we have this set as B, and this is A, this is B. Suppose that here we have n elements, m elements, and here we have n. Therefore, we may tend to think in the beginning that cardinality of A union B is n plus n. But from the picture, it becomes clear that we have actually made some over counting, in the sense that this portion is nothing but A intersection B. This has been actually counted twice. Therefore, to find A union B, we can of course take m plus n, but from that m plus n, we need to subtract the elements that are coming common in both, because this is counted twice. In m plus n, this portion is counted twice, and therefore we need to remove one of them. So A union B becomes therefore m plus n minus cardinality of intersection A intersection B. And if you write using A and B itself, this is nothing but cardinality of A plus cardinality of B minus cardinality of A intersection B. So cardinality of A union B, or the number of elements in A union B, is equal to number of elements in A plus number of elements in B. Now we need to remove the elements, those elements which we have counted twice. Therefore, we have to remove the intersection. If you want a rigorous proof, a much more standard proof of this statement, what is the statement that we made? The statement we made is number of elements in A union B. So we'll make it as a formal statement. Show that if A and B are finite sets, then cardinality of A union B equal to cardinality of A plus cardinality of B minus cardinality of A intersection B. To verify this statement, we will first take the number of elements in the intersection. That is, these elements we consider first. Suppose that A intersection B has some R elements. Therefore, R elements are common between A and B. Now, suppose that A has M elements in it which is not in B and the elements in the intersection. Suppose that B is equal to similarly n plus r. This is common. These are all common elements. These are all common elements. Therefore, cardinality of A union B, we know now that this is nothing but m plus n plus r. We know that this is m plus n plus r because r is coming twice. Therefore, we need not count it twice. We need to count it only once. Therefore, this is nothing but m plus n plus r. But m plus n plus r is nothing but m plus r plus n plus r minus r. But this is what, this is the cardinality of A, this is the cardinality of B, and this is the cardinality of A intersection B. So we have verified that cardinality of A union B, or number of elements in A union B, is going to be equal to number of elements in A plus number of elements in B minus number of elements appearing in the intersection. Therefore, if you want to find the total number of students who have passed in either mathematics or physics, or statistics, then we need to take the number of elements, the number of students who have passed in mathematics plus the number of students passed in statistics. Then we need to subtract those elements, those students who have passed in both mathematics and statistics. In this way, we can find the exact number of students who have passed in at least one of them, mathematics or statistics. The way in which we wrote this particular statement, that cardinality of A union B is equal to cardinality of A plus cardinality of B minus cardinality of A intersection B, this statement is written for two sets, and if you want to extend it for three sets, how do we do that? So if you want to extend for n sets, for example, if you want to extend for three sets, means that suppose that we want to find the number of students who have passed in mathematics or statistics or physics, then we have three sets A, B, C. If you want to find out the number of students who have passed in mathematics or physics or statistics or English, then we have A, B, C, and D. We can keep on increasing the sets like this. But what are going to be the expressions in the situation where we have more than two sets? So show that cardinality of A union B union C equal to cardinality of A plus cardinality of B plus cardinality of C. So what we did in the previous case, when we had two sets, what we did is we subtracted the intersection. Here it's going to be slightly different. Here it's going to be, initially we subtract cardinality of A intersection B plus cardinality of A intersection C plus cardinality of B intersection C. Not only that, now we add cardinality of A intersection B intersection C. See, what we have done is we have included all A, B, and C. Now we are removing those which are appearing in A intersection B, because A intersection B means that we have counted them twice. A intersection C we are removing, and B intersection C we are again removing. But now the problem is that we are removing them in several structures, and therefore it can happen that in elements coming in, all these sets might have got removed more than once. So to compensate that, we are adding A intersection B intersection C once again back to the sum. So initially we are including A, B, C. Then we are excluding A intersection B, A intersection C, B intersection C. Again, we are including A intersection B intersection C. This way of finding the number of elements in a union of sets is known as inclusion exclusion principle. That principle we will state exactly later, but we will try to verify this statement first. So how to verify this? We are going to verify this using mathematical induction. We know that in the case of two sets, we know that we can have an expression like intersectional union. Number of elements in A union B is equal to number of elements in A plus number of elements in B minus number of elements in the intersection. We are going to make use of that result in proving this statement. So we are going to use induction. A union B union C. Now consider B union C as a single set and A as one set. Therefore, we have actually A union B union C. So B union C is one set and A is another set. Therefore, we can use what we proved in the previous case. This is equal to cardinality of A plus cardinality of B union C minus cardinality of A intersection B union C. Now, this is equal to cardinality of A. What about cardinality of B union C? We can once again apply the previous result. This is equal to cardinality of B plus cardinality of C minus cardinality of B intersection C. What about this part? Minus, we are continuing. A intersection B union C. Now we cannot handle A intersection B union C exactly like that. So we will make a split. This is nothing but A intersection B union A intersection C. Now, again we have two sets. A intersection B is one set and A intersection C is another set. So we are going to apply the same procedure as in the previous case. So cardinality of A plus cardinality of B plus cardinality of C minus cardinality of B intersection C minus what is here? A intersection B union A intersection C. Once again, if we apply the previous result, we will get cardinality of A intersection B plus cardinality of A intersection C. What is next? Minus cardinality of A intersection B intersection A intersection C. Okay, now A intersection B, B intersection C, A intersection C, all are with minus signs. Therefore, this is equal to cardinality of A plus cardinality of B plus cardinality of C minus A intersection B, A intersection C, B intersection C. What after that? After that we have minus minus. And now note that A intersection, B intersection, A intersection C. Taking two times intersection will not make any difference. Therefore, we have this is equal to A intersection, B intersection C plus A intersection, B intersection C. This is what we want. So the three set case, what we have is A union, B union C. The cardinality is cardinality of A plus cardinality of B plus cardinality of C minus take the intersection pairwise and subtract them. Now take the intersection of everything together. So if you want to extend this result to n sets, n any number of sets, all are finite, we will get the inclusion exclusion principle. So the inclusion exclusion principle is the following. Let A1, etc., An all finite sets where n is greater than or equal to 2. Then cardinality of A1 union, or otherwise we can use the sigma notation, union I equal to 1 to n, Ai equal to, first of all, we have to take a single sets, sigma I equal to 1 to n cardinality of Ai, that means A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus etc. An minus, next is take pairwise intersection. Therefore, sigma 1 less than or equal to I less than j less than or equal to n, Ai intersection Aj, the cardinality of this. Now we have to again plus sigma 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to, sorry, I less than j less than k less than or equal to n. Now we have to take three sets, ai intersection aj intersection ak, and go on like that. And what we'll be getting finally, just see that in the first step, when we have two sets, we have finally a plus b minus this. We have two sets, then we are getting minus 1 raised to 3, minus 1 raised to n plus 1, minus 1 raised to 2 plus 1. When we have three sets, we have this equal to plus, that is minus 1 raised to 3 plus 1. So when we have n sets, we must have minus 1 raised to n plus 1. Minus 1 raised to n plus 1, that's a sign. A, instead of using AI, we can have intersection I equal to 1 to n AI. This is known as inclusion exclusion principle, basically because we are including the cardinalities of all AI first. Including means adding. Then we are excluding the cardinalities of pairwise intersections. Then we are including the cardinalities of uh, intersection of three sets. Then we are again excluding, and we are keeping on doing like this. And finally, we are getting the total sum. This is known as inclusion exclusion principle. And we have verified this principle in two cases. The first case is two set case, second case is three sets case, and we can actually verify this for the general n also, again using mathematical induction. We need to assume that for n minus 1 sets, this inclusion and exclusion principle is true, and we have to verify it for n set case. Since it's going to be again a tedious exercise, just we have to keep on writing the sets, intersection, etc. We are just leaving it as an exercise. Let us see some applications of the inclusion exclusion principle. The question is following: find the number of positive integers less than or equal to some number 2076 and divisible by 4, sorry, divisible by neither 4 nor 5. So we are supposed to find all positive integers. That means that from 1 up to 2076, we need to find those numbers which are not divisible by 4, not divisible by 5. So we need to find all the number of all such numbers. Recall that in the inclusion exclusion principle, we are actually trying to find the total number of elements that satisfy certain property. Here, it's actually the opposite way. We need to find the numbers which are not divisible by 4, not divisible by 5. So our strategy is slightly different from, we are not going actually directly. Instead of that, we are taking an indirect route. So for taking that indirect route, suppose that x is a natural number, a is a set of for x, where 1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2076 and 4 divides x. That means that we are considering all the multiples of 4 in the range 1 to 2076. Similarly, let b equal to set of for x in n such that 1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2076 and 5 divides x. And how many numbers are there up to 2076? Definitely 2076 numbers are there. If we take the union of A and B, then we will get numbers that are divisible by 4 or numbers that are divisible by 5. So if we remove all these numbers, then we will be getting the number of numbers within 1 to 2076 that are not divisible by 4, not divisible by 5. So our aim is to find A union B first, and from 2076 we will remove all those A union B elements. Therefore, A union B by inclusion exclusion principle, this is equal to A plus B minus A intersection B. Now, what is the cardinality of A? Cardinality of A is nothing but it's a number of 4 divisors, number of 4 multiples of 4 within the range 2076, and we know that this is actually the floor of 2076 by 4, and this is going to be 5 1 9. And now number of elements in B is going to be 2076 by 5, the floor of that, and that's equal to 4, then 1, and 26, therefore it's 5. So cardinality of B we have, cardinality of A we have. Now what about cardinality of A intersection B? A intersection B is the cardinality of number of elements in number of elements 1 to 2076 divisible by 4 and 5. But 4 and 5, a number is divisible by 4 and 5 provided that it's divisible by 20. Therefore, this is equal to 2076 by 20, and that is nothing but 1 0 3. So we have all the numbers in our hand now, so we can find the cardinality of A union B to be equal to cardinality of A plus cardinality of B plus, sorry, minus cardinality of A intersection B, that is equal to, what are those numbers? 519 plus 415 minus 103, and this can be calculated to be equal to 831. You please make a calculation on your own and see that it's correct. So we have A union B. The A union B is the set of all numbers that are divisible either by 4 or by 5. So if we want to remove all the elements that are multiples of 5 or 4, then we need to remove A union B elements from the set of all numbers in the range 1 to 2076. Therefore, the number of positive integers between 1 and 2076 not divisible by 4 or 5 is equal to 2076 minus A union B, where A contains all multiples of 4, B contains all multiples of 5. This is equal to 2076 minus 831, and this can be verified to be equal to 1, 2, 4, 5. That's it. We will continue with more problems using the inclusion exclusion principle. And the next question is this: find the number of positive integers less than or equal to 3000 divisible by 3 or 5 or 7. So this question is going to be more direct than the previous one. Suppose that we write A equal to x belongs to n with the property 1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 3000, and not only that, 3 divides x, so they are all 3 multiples. B equal to the same way, x belongs to n, 1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 3000. The property is, extra property is that 5 divides 6. Now C equal to the same kind of set, 7 dividing x. We have 3 sets. Now we need to find the number of elements, number of integers, number of positive integers that are divisible either by 3 or by 5 or by 7. Therefore, we need to find the number of elements in A union B union C. Therefore, A union B union C equal to, using the inclusion exclusion, A plus B plus C minus A intersection B minus A intersection C minus B intersection C plus A intersection B intersection C. Now, number of elements in A, that is the number of multiples of 3 in the range 1 to 3000, that is 3000 by 3 plus 3000 by 5 plus 3000 by 7. Now minus, what is A intersection B? A intersection B is the number of elements, number of positive digits that are multiples of 3 and 5. Therefore, it's a multiple of 15. So 3000 by 15 plus 3000 by A intersection C is 3 and 7. 21. Oh, sorry, this is not plus. This is minus. This is also minus. Minus 3000 by 7 5, that is 35. Now plus the intersection of all these sets means that it's a multiple of 3, multiple of 5, multiple of 7. Therefore, it's a multiple of 3 into 5 into 7, which is 105. 3000 by 75, 35, 105. And just compute this number, and this number turns out to be equal to 1629. Just compute these numbers and we'll get the final answer to be equal to 1629. We will continue with interesting applications of the inclusion exclusion principle. And next application is related to counting of leap years. And here, Y is said to be a leap year. So it has to satisfy in one of the following categories. If Y is a century, then it must be a multiple of 400. That's the first condition. Or Y is not a century and it is a multiple of 4. So there are two conditions. Y is not supposed to satisfy both the conditions. If Y satisfies one of these conditions, we say that it's a leap year. Recall that leap year is an year where there are 366 days instead of 365 days in a usual year, and this one day extra is coming in the month of February. So the definition is the following: if Y is a century, then it must be a multiple of 400. Then we call it to be a leap year. If Y is not a century, and if it is a multiple of 4, then we call it to be a leap year. So, for example, Y equal to 1900. This is not a leap year because 1900, it's a century, but it's not a multiple of 400. Now, Y equal to 2020. It is a leap year because it's not a century, but it's a multiple of 4. Y equal to 2010. This is not a leap year because this is not a century, first of all. So the first condition we need not check. This is not a multiple of 4. Therefore, this is not a leap year. Y equal to year 2000. This is a leap year because it's a century and it's a multiple of 4000. So this is how we check if a given year is a leap year or not. Our next problem is related to counting of leap years within a particular range. Our question is precisely the following. Derive a formula for number of leap years after year 1600 and up to a given year y. So the question is the following. We have to derive a formula for the number of leap years after 1600, 1600. That means that 1600 itself we are not counting, and up to a given year y. That means that y can be 1900, y can be 2020, up to 2020. From 1601 up to 2020, we have to count how many leap years are there. This is the problem we have, and we are going to make use of the inclusion exclusion principle for deriving such a formula. We start in the following way. Let n be a year in the given range, that is 1600 less than n less than or equal to y. What we need to check is if n is a leap year or not. If n is a leap year, we need to add this n to our counting. That is what precisely we have to do. So to check n if n is a leap year or not, there are various things we have to check. The first thing is that we have to check if n is a multiple, if n is a century or not. If n is a century and if n is a multiple of 400, we need to count it. If n is just a century, we need to exclude it. Next thing is that we need to check if it's not a century, we need to check if it's a multiple of 4 or not. In that case, we have to include it. So there are multiple conditions that we have to actually verify to this for deciding whether to include or exclude this n. First of all, we will check if n is going to be a multiple of 4 or not. Or in other words, we are going to find out the number of multiples of 4 in the range 1600 to y. Suppose that we call that number to be n1. Let n1 equal to number of multiples of 4 in 1600 y range. This is not included, this is included. So what is n1? For finding number of 4 multiples up to y, we need to just take, if you are to find all multiples to y, we need to just take number of multiples of 4 up to y is equal to y by 4, the floor of it. Now, number of multiples of 4 up to 1600 equal to 1600 by 4. So number of that is not necessary, so we not even write that. Therefore, n1, for finding n1, we need to take all multiples of 4 above 1600 and less than or equal to y. Therefore, we need to remove all multiples from all multiples up to y, all 4 multiples up to y. We need to remove all 4 multiples up to 1600. Therefore, n1 is equal to y by 4, this number, minus 1600 by 4, that is equal to 400. Now, let n2 equal to, we are now counting all the centuries within the range 1600 to y. In the same way, we are not giving detailed explanations here, we are just writing it. N2 is equal to, in the same way, we have y by 100 minus 1600 by 100, and that is equal to y by 100 minus 16. So we calculated n1, we calculated n2, both. Now we need to calculate the number of 400 multiples also. If we denote the number of 400 multiples by n3, let n3 equal to number of 400 multiples in the range 1600 to y. Then, as in the previous case, this is equal to y by 400 minus 1600 by 400, that is equal to y by 400 minus, this is just 4. So now we have what are the things we have calculated now? We have number of multiples of 4 up to y, that we have here, that's n1. Number of multiples of 100 we have here. Number of multiples of 400 we have here. Now we need to only count the number of multiples of 4 we need to consider, but at the same time, from the number of multiples of 4 we need to exclude all the 100 multiples, but at the same time we need to include the number of multiples of 400 multiples, number of multiples of 400. So our task is multitude, so we have to take 4 multiples, but from the 4 multiples we need not count 100 multiples, but if you are excluding 100 multiples, we need to include 400 multiples. Therefore, essentially we have the final count like this. Therefore, the leap years in 1600 y range is equal to n1 minus n2 plus n3. All 4 multiples included, centuries removed, but while removing centuries, we might have removed 400s added, and therefore this is equal to, just add all these things and get the final answer. This is a very nice application of the inclusion exclusion principle. Though we have not explicitly used that principle, we are actually including and excluding as in the result of inclusion exclusion principle.